official scrutineering in Alice Springs for what's now Australia's fastest cross-country motorcycle race.
For years, Finke was a landmark on the track from Adelaide to Alice Springs. For the pioneer camel trains because of reliable water, then for the Ghan Railway, which followed the tracks of the Afghan camel drivers.
While camels are reliable desert transport, they're pretty slow. They take about 8 days to travel from Alice Springs to Finke. It's only a 2 or 3 hour trip, however, for today's trailblazer, the Enduro motorcycle.
The moment of truth finally arrives. And so it begins. 130 lunatics take off into the desert to see who will be the fastest to Finke.
The origins of the Alice Springs Motorcycle Club started with the wide-open desert, mountain ranges and dry riverbeds. Only the adventurous motorcycle riders took off into the vast landscape with their mates. The first constructed track was in the town of Alice Springs. Population and rail expansion moved the club on in the 1960s to a sandy site on the banks of the Todd River. The 1970s saw the club grow, and in April 1973 they were incorporated. A meeting was held in the kitchen of Peter Gunners, one of the organisers, to discuss the possibility of bringing the long-proposed endurance race to Finke and back into reality. Concerns were expressed about the cost to run such a huge event, where riders could also get lost in the vast desert. The track from Alice Springs to Finke had yet to be constructed. This was a deadly serious endurance event, in which the possibility of severe injury and fatigue was high. The overland telegraph from Alice to Adelaide seemed to be an obvious line to follow. Hard-working volunteers plotted a course using flags, poles and railway sleepers all the way to the Finke, 229 kilometres from Alice Springs. The now famous 458-kilometre course was born.
The first year was called the Shell Oils There and Back Enduro. And so Barry Taylor and Peter Gunner Senior and Ralph Tice and a few of those guys on the committee, some of them took it to Shell.
We decided to make a motorcycle event that would be the standout for not only Alice Springs but the Northern Territory. And Peter Gunner even had some words that he said in the very first program, that he promised this would be a national event. And his words came true. Peter was a dreamer, and I say that in the kindest possible way. He was probably the driving force in making Finke happen. And we wanted to make an adventure. That was our key aim. We wanted something spectacular that was better than anything else that we'd done in the motorcycle club. It was the Alice Springs Motorcycle Club that actually got Finke going. Peter proudly announced to us that he decided that the prize money would be $1,500. And I said to him, Peter, we don't have $1,500. As it turns out, we did finish up with just enough prize money.
So it was just gone from this adventure to a pure race.
It wasn't no joke, no laughing matter, no. It was mates racing, but it was for keeps.
A few years later, a guy, Phil Lovett from Cessnock in New South Wales, he didn't finish the second day, but he said to me, he looked me in the eye, he said, this is fantastic. He said, I'm going to come back and race this again. Well, he did. He came back and won it 3 times. If you look back, and that's the most amazing thing about the race, how many repeat winners there are. So it seems like once you're able to conquer it, you can then go on and do it again, or you don't seem to have the same pressure.
From memory, I think we had a St John's at Bundooma and a St John's at the start line, and a medic in the clearing vehicle. There was only about 1 or 2 clearing vehicles at the time. We just didn't have the resources to collect people or their bikes, or we only picked up the the people that we thought should have been picked up and taken to hospital.
The desert lets win who wins, so it's a pretty crazy race. Now, your current day champion like Toby Price, I mean, a year before this year's event, he had his head in a neck brace and he'd had a bad accident somewhere. He came back this year and won it. So there are lots of heroes, and it doesn't really matter whether they're winners or not. I think the main thing to a lot of people is to actually conquer it and finish it. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't matter whether you're at the front or at the other end of the field. The front runners ride at incredible pace. People midfield and near the end are riding hard as well, and they've got a massive dust cloud to deal with. So everybody has a challenge. Do you lay it all on the line in prologue to get further up the field? And of course they do. But then the challenge is that you're taking off with 9 other like-minded people on the start line. Finke's 220 kilometres away, and there's lots of challenges thrown at you in between.
With the assistance of the Cancer Council of the Northern Territory, K4C, the Kilometres for Cancer team, will enter riders and drivers into this famous race, held in June 2015 on the Queen's birthday weekend. In K4C, we all have the belief that cancer can be managed and treated successfully, and eventually there will be a breakthrough and a cure. K4C are making the kilometres count by raising funds for cancer research. Belief in our K4C riders is a belief that we can all cure this wicked disease. This video production helps to keep the awareness and the conversation going by reaching a wider audience.
There's a special meaning for Mother's Day in our household, and that was because in 2004, after a couple of years' battle with cancer, my mother-in-law Joan Cosson passed away, and she had ovarian cancer. And then the idea came from a work colleague of mine to put together a team for the Finke for the purpose of raising money for the Cancer Council. Now, being a man of purpose, that got my interest, because hey, I could go and race Finke. Oh yeah, no worries, and that would be lots of fun, hard work and so on. But to be able to go out there and do something that's not about me, but raising money for, cancer research, screening, advertising and awareness.
The K4C riders entering the 2015 Tatts Finke Desert Race have spent many months training, racing and practicing outside Alice Springs.
We'll have to organise like a bit of a pre-run and that down to Deep Well.
Yeah, got to do
even before Deep Well, just do a bit of play. It's like Craig's keen, but I don't know if he's ever been down the track much. He's keen, he's getting fit in that, but yeah, let's get out on the track.
After Christmas would come the serious pre-running, but we should all get together and go for a ride out there.
And it's an eye-opener, as you know what you're in for, eh? Like, oh yeah, this is hurting a bit, got to work on this.
I still got my old 450 there. Yeah. And I was gonna just hang on to it, like I don't need to sell it, so.
Did Steve set the suspension up? Greenie?
Yeah. I got a KX 450, 2015. Yeah, just picked it up. It's on my bucket list, so got to get out there and do it. I've been racing in town for 2 or 3 years now, so I wanted my new bike to do it. I wasn't going to do it on an old dinger, so I'm just working on bike setup and just getting my mind frame set for it. It's a big mental thing. You don't want to go out there and crash your brains out 10k out of town. It's a long ride. When it gets a bit closer to Chrissy, we're all going to get together and do a couple of runs down to Finke and back. Probably set up a camp near Bundooma somewhere and run through the big whoops and get our bikes set up and ride as a team. And definitely want to set up to make it there and back. Found a lot of history of cancer in our family. My mother-in-law have both had breast cancer. My grandfather died of it. My pop died of it. My nana died of it. So it's a really good cause to do it for. And
I got a 2014 YZF 450. Be riding that. Had yammies for a while, like my yammies, so yeah, got Greenie's got JDR suspension on it as well. Should be good. She's feeling nice and flush at the moment, but she's not full Finke set up at this point in time, but a lot better than a standard because they're pretty stiff motocross sort of setup, so you generally have to do a bit with them, get them ready for Finke. That's it, get the handling. I raced once, I raced in 08 and did alright, got 41st my first year racing, so I was pretty happy with that and was keen for 09, like pushing hard because I knew I could do a lot better and wanted to do a bit better, but had a big crash practicing for the race and that, and fractured my radius and had some nerve damage in my shoulder, so that slowed me up for a few years. But yeah, I overcome that and keen to give it another go. You come and approached me about the K4C team, and after you explained about your dad lost him to cancer and stuff like that, and that he had some money that you want to put towards it, I thought if you're going to do that, the least I could do is be a part of it and raise what I can for the cause. It's awesome to raise money for a cure for cancer. That's what we need in the world at the moment, I think. It's taken many people down, and if we can get even close to finding any sort of cure, it'd go a long way.
My name's Trent Carlos. I'm 35 years old. Wondering why I didn't do this in my 20s. Yeah, the Finke Desert Race for me is a bit of a bucket list kind of thing. I probably, in all honesty, would have never got around to it if Dave hadn't approached me about doing it for charity, so I'm just looking to get there and back and yeah, have some fun along the way, riding with some good blokes. From the day I got here, the Finke Desert Race just fascinated me, and to know the history of it, to see what it started as and what it is now, and how many people are involved, how many machines, and some of the machines you see scrutineering and during the race, like you're not going to see that anywhere else in the world. Finke's a bucket list thing, as I said. I don't think I ever would have got around to it, and then the opportunity to do it for charity, make some money for the Cancer Council.
Well, it's a real hard one. There's a lot of psychological stuff goes on with Finke in preparation, especially when you see those other teams and the money they throw at it. A bit hard to compete with some of those boys, but it's mainly about just being focused and playing your own game. A lot of preparation goes into it months before. You just got to go through the car, front to rear, just check every nut and bolt, make sure everything's right, and then hopefully have a good run. Yeah, this will be my fourth one. I did 0-11 on a quad, and got there and back, which I was pretty stoked about. And second time round was on a buggy, which wasn't real reliable, so we got a DNF there. But last year, 2014, we finished in the truck, which I was grateful. That was awesome. 2015, we're going again with the trophy truck. It's in the extreme two-wheel drive class. So we did last year, we got there and back. So we're going again this year, and hopefully we can do some good for ourselves and also for K4C. I decided to get on board with the K4C team after you approached me about it, and I wanted to do that for my father-in-law. It's basically a memory of him. He was passed away at age 64, which was not a real good innings for him, but just a great man, a good hard worker, and I know he'll be proud of his grandson and myself doing it, especially it's in memory of him, so that's why we'll be doing it, but also to raise money for such a great cause, you know. We'd like to get behind and do everything we can to earn a few bucks for K4C.
I had one of my good friends died a couple of years ago, only 26 years old, so pretty heart-wrenching thing, and so yeah, it's pretty tragic, and it was pretty hard seeing him go through quite a few years of battling with cancer and then finally seeing him taken. So yeah, I thought it'd be a good chance to support the Cancer Council, raise some funds to see if they can find a cure. Started off on farm bikes from pretty young, like 3 or 4 years old, and then got my first bike at about 11 years old, and I've just been sort of trail riding, and I haven't done really too many races apart from a couple of casual ones every now and then. I've got a 2010 Honda CRF 450. I brought it off a mate of mine who raced Finke on it, so it's already kind of set up for it, so I shouldn't have to do too much work. It would be nice. Yeah. I guess probably the biggest worry for me is crashing out, I guess. Even just riding the small section that I did, I had a few close calls, so just getting used to the whoops is, it's going to be a bit tricky. Hopefully the next few months we'll get the hang of it.
When I was in the Philippines, I raced there motocross, and I won lots of racing competition there in the Philippines. Raced with the locals here in Alice Springs. Let's get back 3 years ago, I'm the champion here in motocross and natural terrain. I did it well again. So yeah, later on there'll be a presentation of a trophy. Then yeah, another trophy for this year, 2014. So I'm just very lucky. It's the result of training hard, ride hard, train hard, and then ride smart.
So I ended up winning the state champs. I was pretty stoked. I ended up getting a sponsorship for 6 months for winning that. I ride a 2012 KX 450. It's been set up and done up for me my weight because I'm pretty small. We had to go through a few springs just to get that set up properly. I trained with my old man because he used to do lots of mountain bike races, and he's just so fit. I can't even beat him. If we get it set up properly for Finke, I should be alright. Just get that fitness going and then just be confident. I've lost 2 of my close relatives or family. My auntie just passed away about, when was it, June, early this year. She had a cancer here, and then she had to go back to the Philippines and finish it there. And then I've lost another grandma. Yeah, it's mum's side, that is. Yeah, so I reckon it'd be good to dedicate this and participate on it. Be good for the Cancer Council.
Finke first came to my attention. I was planning on buying a road bike, and my brother said, hey, why don't you go out to the start line of the Finke? And so the whole idea of buying a road bike went out the window, and I thought, I've got to get myself a dirt bike. And I'd go camping and so on, and then people would say, why don't you race Finke? Why don't you race Finke? I'm not ready yet. And then in 1989 I had a CR500 and raced the Finke Desert Race, and unfortunately didn't finish. I went to Adelaide, came back, and I'd lost interest in motorbikes for a long time. That interest has been re-sparked, but I'm a man of purpose. And with Finke, okay, I've gotten older and so on, what do? You weigh up family balances and all that type of stuff, work. Is it worth it? Joan was diagnosed with just having bloating from gassing. What it turned out to be was ovarian cancer, and obviously when they picked that up, it had already had 2 years of growing, separating and spreading around the body and so on. So, you know, we saw her pass away in the Mother's Day weekend. So for me, this ride is a dedication to Joan Cosson, my mother-in-law, who is just a fantastic woman.
Together.
If we find a cure,
together,
we'll
mate.
forever.
Together, that's one.
Okay.
Right, ready?
5, 4, 3, 2.
Support K4C.
We can find a cure together.
Okay, yeah.
Biatch.
I'll just mime it.
Our K4C Tatts Finke Desert Race team is skilled and determined to get to Finke and back safely. Please go to our K4C fundraising link. Together we can win and reach our goal.
I think everybody has got somebody who's been touched by cancer, and I feel for all of those people. I think the fact is that men are probably not the best at having themselves checked out at all times, and that's a facet. But yeah, cancer strikes everybody. I think it's a great idea, it's a great concept. To ride and enjoy what you're doing, but also to raise funds for research into cancer. I think that's a credit to everybody involved.